Hi, welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Lily Newman, the host, and my co-host Susan Solomon will be joining us next time. My guests today are Lauren Johnson, Prevention Coordinator at Purchase College and the Chair of the Collegiate Alliance for Student Success and Prevention. Welcome. And Robbie Morell, Wellness Counselor at the Wellness Center at Purchase College. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. There's so much to talk about what's going on college campuses. But first, can you just talk about what you do, the Wellness Center, and what's going on? Lauren.
Sure.
Just jump in, Robbie.
So I started a little over a year ago at Purchase College under an OASIS-funded grant for environmental prevention for substance use and substance misuse prevention at Purchase College. So our goals are to reduce the negative outcomes of alcohol, tobacco, and other drug use on our college campus, as well as reducing the access and availability of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. And we do that through a variety of evidence-based strategies. And another thing that we really wanted to accomplish through this grant was to create a community coalition. And we're based out of Westchester County, and Westchester County has a ton of really great existing community coalitions, as you know. So we, when we first came to campus, we wanted to see what it was that the county wanted and needed. And they said, we really don't have anybody representing all the colleges in Westchester County. So that's really what we've been trying to do, is trying to bring our mission of reducing these negative outcomes and reducing access and availability through these evidence-based strategies to all the Westchester County colleges.
So my question is, was there a problem? And when I say problem at Purchase, it's not that it's just at Purchase.
Right.
And you can talk about all the colleges are having a problem with the drinking and with the opiate epidemic and, vaping and marijuana in the vape. So what are you seeing on Purchase that you knew that this needed to be done?
So I'll speak more broadly to our region.
Okay,
things that we're really concerned about are vaping, both nicotine products and marijuana products. With the pending legislation in New York State for legalization of recreational marijuana, we're really concerned about the commercialization of high concentration THC products, as well as high concentration nicotine products with vaping. So we're very concerned about that. The opioid epidemic in our region is constantly a concern, and we're definitely doing a couple of initiatives to address that, specifically on Purchase College campus. And as always, alcohol is a huge concern, and turning 21 does not make it magically any better. So it's not only the underage drinking, we're concerned about alcohol in general.
And Robbie?
Well, I'm a clinician in the Wellness Center, and the Wellness Center is there to promote holistic wellness. We adhere to the 8 areas of wellness from SAMHSA, physical, emotional, academic / occupational, financial, social, spiritual, and I know I'm missing one.
That's okay.
So we utilize that concept of wellness to use education, prevention, and intervention. So we do mental health and substance use and mental health related counseling as the intervention. We provide psychoeducation in classes. We provide skills training and things like that to support the students.
So the kids, the students can just come and show up and say, I'd like to make an appointment, I've got a problem. It doesn't always have to be substance abuse, it could be mental health.
It is voluntary counseling, as well as we deal with the mandated students that have breached the code of conduct in relationship to substances. So we do biopsychosocial assessments and try to determine what would be the best level of care for them and supports and things.
We have a lot of students who come in voluntarily, and Robbie runs a fantastic yoga program to support the mission that she just.
You do yoga, right?
Right.
Yeah, and so we have a lot of students who come and utilize that. It's a fantastic program. We do a lot of supportive programming. Today, for example, we had our puppy therapy, which is a huge hit on our campus.
I can imagine.
Robbie, I look up to her a lot. She's been on campus a couple more years than I have, but she's started a lot of really great programming through wellness. And the students really respond very well to it, and a lot of them do just kind of come by just to hang out in our space. And
it's a nice space.
It's a very nice space.
Very comfortable, very homey.
We also have undergraduate interns who go semester by semester for credit.
Okay.
And they are in charge of creating their own program in any area of wellness, so that because they know what the
Right,
students
right.
need and
That's a
what
great
they
idea.
kind of get into. So.
Instead of adults doing it, and then
Right.
sometimes we might miss the mark.
Right.
Right. Instead of telling them what they need,
Right.
the
Right.
students.
So do you see a difference between what they would choose to look at or work on than maybe, I don't want to say us being a little older, maybe? They different?
Certainly, they can understand what connects with their peers
Okay.
sometimes better than us. We do help to mold it so
Okay.
that it will be supporting some area of wellness, and there are learning outcomes for it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Got it.
And we definitely aim to create connection for our students, because connection is a huge antidote to the substance misuse that we're
right.
seeing. So, I mean, I've had students who come in who say, you know what, I really love the mission of what you guys are doing. Can I create a hip hop dance battle?
Got it. Right.
Can we
right.
use the space to do something like that?
Right.
Because we feel that that's a healthy outlet for us to do this. And kind of relieve our stress and have this artistic outlet. So things that are creative like that, I would have never in a million
That's
years
right. I
thought
was
that that's
just-
what my
right.
students
That's
wanted.
right,
So
right.
they come up with some really creative things that they're able to have these student-led programmings that really get great reception. One of our most popular clubs on campus is the Zumba Club.
Really?
Again, I don't know much about Zumba, but they
Right.
get several, 40 students who come out
Wow,
once a
that's
week.
great.
And we've done some collaborations with them because that's a very healthy activity supporting the Wellness Center's mission as well.
So that's what a lot of the undergraduate interns collaborate with one of the clubs, so that brings, other students that maybe haven't been to the Wellness
Right.
Center. There are ambassadors, the undergraduate
Because that's a big
interns.
space. I saw that you have classrooms over there. That's where they can do the yoga or Zumba
Yes,
or
we
it's
have a-
all in that. You know what? I was just wondering, and not just in Purchase, but in a college, kids get lost. So what's the mechanism, the fail-safe maybe, to catch the kids to know who they are? Is it the RAs? I was just wondering about
Meaning,
that.
how do they
Well,
get
if they're-
referred to
Yeah,
us?
I guess,
or-
yeah. And if, there's someone out there that sees a kid that might not be taking care of themselves, maybe missing school, maybe sleeping. I'm just wondering,
So when you say lost, I kind of hear that they don't gain the connections they need.
Thank you.
So they're coming to a new community and they
Right.
have to establish these new connections,
right.
which is easier for some students
That's
than
right.
others. So we at Wellness Center, we aim to create some opportunities for connections, but Purchase College is fantastic at trying to create a bunch of fail-safes for our students. We have a fantastic residential life program, and they do a lot of programming trying to, again, identify those students. And one of the grants initiatives through my position is to do screening, brief intervention, and referral to treatment,
Got it.
which is an evidence-based tool to try and screen students proactively and identify students who might be at high risk
How
for
do you get
developing.
them? How do they come to you?
That has been a struggle, let me tell you. But we do a lot of screening in freshman orientation, so we
Okay.
get to
Right.
see them before they even come onto
I
campus.
would say that's one large way
Large
to
way.
introduce at least the freshmen to the campus and with the resources, and the Wellness Center does a whole.
You screen out all of them?
The incoming
voluntary.
freshmen who come through our MAPS EOP and Summer Success Fellows, we do
What's
all
that?
of those programs. So those are all supportive programming for students who fit different cohorts. So first generation students who are coming from untraditional backgrounds, who are identified in these programs. So we do screen all of them. We screened several athletes last year. This year, the athletics program has been incredibly collaborative, and we will do all 250 student athletes over the summer in their
That's
compliance
great.
meetings. And then our director, Matt Krause, and Robbie have been great at getting into the freshman year experience classes to not only do screening, but to kind of introduce what the Wellness Center's mission is.
Presentations, programs, workshops on mindfulness. Creative writing has asked us to collaborate. Different directors have brought their students for yoga, to get more in touch with their present moment experience. So
That's
it's
amazing.
a lot of outreach, and that's
Right.
why we rely a lot on the students, because it's student driven is much more efficient
Right,
than
right. getting
trickle
the
down.
kids and having them come and stay.
And you would be really surprised, Robbie's still working clinically with the students, and we hear a lot that it's not until the students come to this yoga class that they realize that connection with something like yoga or mindfulness can help them reduce their use or identify their problem behavior or their problem relationship with substances. So it's a great way, whatever direction they come from, in discovering that, it's incredible.
Right. There's a significant amount of students that come to us that have trauma backgrounds. So yoga is also an evidence-based trauma therapy, so it's really helpful to direct them. And somatic kind of experiences are really helpful for many.
And you're a licensed mental health.
I'm a licensed mental health
counselor,
counselor, a KSAC, a yoga teacher, as well as EMDR trained. So eye movement desensitization.
I'm not sure, I've heard of it, and we'll have to do another show on that because that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to deviate, I'm going to stay focused.
Okay.
But you talked about your new thing is recovery.
Yes.
Well, fill me in.
So Robbie's been here longer than I have, but when I came onto the college campus, this is my first time working administratively on a college campus. I've worked as faculty or different roles like that, but never in a role like this, especially not with prevention. So coming onto the campus and having students come to me and say, who are in recovery and say, I can't be here anymore. This is an abstinence hostile environment. I don't feel like I can connect with individuals without the use of substances on this campus. I think I need to leave and go home. And the feeling of hopelessness that a student doesn't feel safe in their environment of education was...
Because they're in recovery, because they're not using, and when they said hostile, abstinence
hostile, meaning that if they want to be abstinent, it's very
it.
difficult
Okay,
and
now I
challenging for them.
understand.
And that
Because-
disconnection
got it. Okay.
is really
Okay.
difficult for them.
Right,
It's very
okay.
challenging. I mean, the
Right.
support is really necessary.
Got it.
Well, yeah, and just the understanding from the culture in general of what their goals are being in recovery and trying to stay substance-free for a very intentional reason. So there had been some work. There had been some work on getting a recovery program on campus before I came there, but because of our connection with Oasis, with this our prevention grant, we did have more exposure to different things that Oasis was doing on the recovery side. So we applied for a mini grant for recovery that was, the Oasis is trying to get these collegiate recovery programs for students on college campuses supported. So we applied for that, and the state was generous enough to come back to us with a much better offer.
A bigger grant.
A very much bigger grant to support what Purchase needs, because our population, our demographic really does need additional support. We have a very high population of people who identify as being in recovery and who are saying that they want these services on our campus. So,
and a lot of students through sort of the alcohol EDU, which is the freshmen and transfers have to go through an online course before they come, and many students indicate that they want substance-free activities. And we've known that, and we try to accommodate that, but when it's student-led and student-driven, it's much more identifiable for the students.
So what do you
and
do
it creates
for
that
So
support.
what are you doing?
So we are very excited to announce that we are hiring a full-time position to run this recovery program. So we will have a professional supervising and running this student-led initiative. The school was generous enough to provide a dedicated space for this programming. So there will be a dedicated room where students can come and just hang out if they need to get away. But also they can celebrate being in recovery, that it's not about what you're giving up, but it's what you're gaining. And so gaining these social supports, these recreational activities. So the room will have all sorts of things that our students have picked out. There's a pinball machine and a TV and a dining table where they can have intentional dining programs.
It's almost like you're creating a community center within a system. So that, like a recovery center that you can walk into and just hang out.
Yeah.
And not even think about that you're sober. You're just hanging out with other people doing
You're
stuff.
connecting with like-minded individuals, and the peers will be trained in peer recovery certification. The ally will be attracting allies and cohorts that want to support it. So it's about destigmatizing recovery. It's about changing the culture on campus, changing the fact that they feel marginalized
Right.
or underrepresented. The
Right.
students,
You're giving them a voice.
giving them a
Giving them-
community.
yeah, and celebrating them
That's
because
right.
how fantastic,
Because we don't celebrate the kids that are sober enough.
Right.
And
Right.
and we do have to celebrate people that are in recovery and that it's challenging. But I think there's also people that have never used can come to this community center
Absolutely.
also. So you don't have to be in recovery.
No.
It's just a
Right.
place where you can go and just be sober. And I think the best outcome is people go without thinking, I have to go because I'm sober.
Right.
It's just, I'm going to go hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
Or have
Exactly.
something to eat and,
Right.
and just hang out.
Right. And we're really excited because a lot of other schools who have come before us in their collegiate recovery programs have demonstrated some really encouraging outcomes.
Yeah.
Students who are in recovery who have CRP programs on their campuses take less time to graduate. They have a higher rate of graduation. They have higher GPAs. They have greater
Makes
job
sense.
placement after graduation. So that's very encouraging
Yeah.
for both our students and for our institution.
That's right, to have those numbers.
Absolutely.
Because when you said abstinence hostile, I
Yes.
wasn't sure what that meant. That's why
Right.
I asked, because I never heard of that actually being hostile or stigmatizing people that are in recovery and that aren't using, because they could just be sober. But I forget that a college is a small environment,
Yeah.
Right.
like, almost like a fishbowl.
Yeah.
And are there more kids using?
Well, it's a high-risk environment.
Right.
With
You're
not
on your
only
own.
access
Right.
and the peer pressure, social pressures, the way the brain develops
Right,
until
right,
25.
right.
They're novelty seeking, they're risk taking. So somewhat impulsive, and perhaps instant gratification
Right,
is a
right.
sort of one of their trends. But yeah, it's and also with the arts, many students are looking for means to get creativity or to enhance that.
Right.
So there's a lot of things going on campus that can be very challenging for someone in recovery. They want to be
didn't think
part
of
of the
that.
community,
Right.
but they don't want to be in a high-risk
Right,
situation.
right, because it's not safe for
Right.
them.
But to answer your question,
Yes.
Lily, the majority of our students are not using illicit
Okay.
substances, and we do have the data on that. And we're really proud to say that the
Right.
majority are not using, and we definitely want to get that message out there to our students that the majority are not doing
Right.
that. The majority are not binge drinking. The majority are not using high concentration THCs. And we do have a good number of students who are refusing offers for drugs and alcohol. We have these statistics on that, and we've started a marketing campaign around that so that students feel comfortable
Right.
that, well, everybody's doing it. I
Right,
have to do
they're
it
not.
too, especially with our art
Right.
students
Right.
who are, well, my professor, may, on their social media, I see certain things. And so we want to change the culture, and we want to have the messaging out there that it's not, you can certainly be creative without
Right.
the use of drugs and alcohol. And we have an art contest that we run monthly to help display that. And we have students who submit art pieces each month, and they sign an agreement that they created that piece of art without the use of
great.
substances, and then we put them all over campus and all over our social media
nice.
to help celebrate that, not everybody's doing it, and
That's
you
right.
can be super creative without
That's
the
right.
use of
And
substances.
that's the myth I hear from kids too. Everyone's using. No, they're not.
Right.
It's everyone
Right.
that you see.
Right.
Because the ones that aren't using aren't hanging around over
Right.
there with them.
But it's interesting because the social norming campaign, I think, will take a while to have
Right.
effects.
Yeah.
That's
But
right.
I often ask students in the class that I teach, how many students do you think, for instance, are smoking marijuana? And they'll say 80, 90%, and it's wonderful to say, well, that's not the statistics,
That's right.
So, it helps them to say, no, it's not everyone. Okay, well, perhaps it doesn't have to be me.
That's right. And you know what, I read research I saw that says that, because there's a lot of uproar on college campuses, that all this stuff is going on, and I don't know who said it, but someone from one college said they bring it from high school. The behaviors, and I'm not judging, but the behaviors are what they were doing in high school. Now they're coming to college where there was very little restrictions and control, and it's exacerbating
Right.
the problem.
Well,
we
there
gotta
is a
get
college effect, right? within
So
the-
one of the things that we get from, so I'm a self-professed data nerd, and I love
Okay.
to manipulate
Numbers.
this data that we get. As you know, it's a very serious topic, but when we take our screening and our surveys and our pre-freshmen, we call it the freshman orientation groups in the summer, we're able to see a snapshot of what their use looks like before they come onto our college campus. And then 90 days out, we take the surveys again, and we're able to see what it looks like in general after 90 days. And as with any college campus, not just Purchase College, we do see an increase in use, which is called the college effect.
Okay.
So the trouble with the
Amazing.
college effect is that we get parents saying, well, then, when my student is a senior in high school, I want them to start, experimenting, so when
You're right.
they
You're
get
right.
onto college
That's
campus,
right.
they don't experience this college
That's
effect.
right.
They've gotten it out of their system, and they've done it when I'm supervising.
Right.
But as you know, there are a lot of concerns with that.
Right.
One is that when we see the earlier age of onset, we see more significant negative outcomes
right.
with alcohol, tobacco, and other drug use. So we're certainly concerned about that, and that's certainly not the remedy to this
That's
college
right.
effect.
That's right. And I never heard that. But I hear the parents say, well, you know what? I can control it. Let them go in the basement. Let them drink. So if anyone gets drunk, I'll be there to help them.
Right.
So when they get to college, I said, so they're going to get to college. They're not going to drink because you've showed them.
Right.
It makes, and these parents are well-intentioned. They're very intelligent.
Right.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It really is.
It's really concerning, yeah. I mean, we definitely want
across the
to
board.
dismantle that there's a lot of concerns with doing that. But there's a lot of ways, too, that parents can support their students once they get onto college
Right.
campuses that don't involve facilitating drinking or drug use when they're still in the household. So there's a fantastic website, powertotheparent.org,
That's right.
that
Okay.
gives a lot of suggestions to parents. And we post a lot of suggestions on our social media as well, both wellness and our Collegiate Alliance for Student Success and Prevention, which is a mouthful, the CASE app. To help parents understand that they can do a lot
That's
from
right.
afar, checking in via text messaging,
right.
calling, making sure that they set those expectations, that they still have no use expectations
That's
for their
right.
college student.
Even though they're away.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then how does a parent know what's going on if the kid goes, everything's okay, and because they're 18, you can't find out information because they're adults? So how do parents find out what's going on?
I think you, as a parent, you know if there's something different about your child.
Okay.
But that's the preparation is to continue
Right.
have the conversation before they're
Before.
going and set
That's
the
right.
expectations. It's a very
That's
big
it.
protective factor.
It is.
If the student knows that their family does not support any use,
Right.
then it,
Even when they're away.
Right.
So that basement thing, and I'll take the keys. I mean,
Yeah.
really.
Right. And I mean, the other great thing, depending on who you are,
Right.
if a student does violate the code of conduct, and this is pretty standard on any college campus across the nation, the school will contact the
Okay.
parent, even if they're over the age of 18.
Really?
So they're contacted if something is going wrong like that. But if you're having constant contact with your student, and you notice that there's a change in their attitude or in their affect or demeanor, then you can be concerned, or if they're losing interest in things that they were once interested in,
Right.
then those are things that you can look for. And through the constant communication, those are things that you can pick up
Can
on.
a parent call you? I mean, you can't, but a parent can call and say, listen, Johnny, I've got issues. Something's not
Absolutely.
right. Could you check? Even though you might not be able to tell me,
Right.
I just want to put it out there.
we can do outreach.
Okay.
Say, sending an email or some kind of communication to say, hi, I just wanted to introduce myself, let you know what the Wellness Center does.
Got it.
And,
You don't
we're,
say,
we're
Mom just
here and
gave me a
available.
call. Mom called.
Yeah, but we also
go.
can counsel the parent. We're here for the whole family, the
Got
parent
it.
too, and say,
That's great.
here's how you can better communicate with your child. And it's not about this inquisition of
Right.
catching them doing something
Right,
wrong.
that's right.
But how can you help your child get connected at
That's
the
right.
institution? How can we get them to making them aware of the yoga classes, the mindfulness classes, some of the wonderful services that our counseling center, which is separate from us, what they offer, what our Office of Community Engagement is offering. The entire institution
Right.
really has a ton to
amazing.
offer our students to help them get connected.
You don't realize that. And the word that you used before was connection.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, in my
That's key.
opinion,
It's very
that's what we're missing, is that connection with your neighbors, the people down the street, you know.
Yeah.
It's different. Times have changed. And if you can create that,
Right.
because I grew up in the Bronx, I always say that. If you can create the Bronx or Queens or Brooklyn, but those neighborhoods
Yeah.
within your, and that's what you're doing, really.
Right.
You're creating the neighborhoods
The community.
within you. That's right, the community, where everyone knows what's going on, not in a stooling way, but just to be safe. Because I think that's what really keeps people safe, when they know that there's other people out there that are
Absolutely.
going to help them.
Yeah, resources and support system.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, do you know that 28 minutes went really fast?
It sure did.
Did you see
Yes.
that? You guys have so much to talk about, and congratulations on having the coalition, being part of the wellness. I want to go to, can I come to school? I want to be a student again.
Please.
A lot of parents say that.
Wow,
we didn't have this when
didn't
we
have
went to
this.
school.
Well, I didn't go to school till later, but you know, I want to be a student.
Yeah.
It's great. It really is a great experience, and what you guys are doing, and everyone that works with you, is, I take my hat off to you. And the recovery part, if you need anything, call me.
Absolutely.
Whatever
Thank
I
you.
can do to come and be a part of, and just, we'll play Scully. You ever play Scully?
No, you'll have to teach us.
You don't know. Just ask around. Pete. Someone's got to know how to play Scully. You draw on the floor. You play with the bottle caps. No, that's sad.
The Bronx.
It is, but it's a way to create a community.
Right.
Because you all have to play hands and knees, and you hit your bottle caps from number to number, and you do different. So that's what you have to play. You have to play Scully out in the street. Because you got a lot of blacktop out
Sure.
there. You
Sure.
can draw the boards. Play Scully.
Cool. We'll have a Scully day.
We will. It's a lot of fun, and it is a way of connecting. I used to do it with the clients.
Okay.
You know, we just go out and we used to do Scully boards, and we